Welcome into this Five Clubs conversation. I'm Gary Willams. It's Father's Day this Sunday, and my appreciation for Father's Day, being a father now, is ample. But when I think about Father's Day, I think about my dad every day, and he's been gone almost 11 years. And my primary reason for my love of golf is because of the time that I got with my dad. And as it pertains to this particular conversation I'm getting ready to have, I can't think of two people who've not only done more as a father and his son professionally in the game of golf, but the way they've done it. And I'm talking about Jay Haas and his son, Bill. You would be hard-pressed to find two people, a father and a son. You'd have to go back to old and young Tom Morris, honest to God, to find two people who've done more, both in the game of golf. But it's who they are. It's their relationship with each other. And it's the fact that they've managed to do all the things they've done while being true gentlemen. So I'm looking forward, as Father's Day approaches this weekend, to talking to a father and a son about the game of golf. And with that, we welcome in the father and the son, Jay and Bill Haas. Gentlemen, how you doing?
Doing great, Gary. Thanks for having us.
Bill, how are you?
Doing good, Gary. Thank you. Doing good. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Listen, you guys have not only a special relationship with each other, but you have a special relationship with the game. And when I thought about Father's Day week and this weekend, I thought of you guys first because of not only accomplishment, but presence and comportment in the game. And Jay, let me start with you. The game of golf, it seemed easy for him because of the osmosis of what existed in his household growing up as a kid with you as his dad. How about you as a kid in the game of golf?
I don't know if it ever seemed easy, but, having Uncle Bob Golby be my mentor since I was 5 years old, he nurtured me through my early years in golf. Not necessarily swing-wise, certainly gave me tips on that. I still, whenever I do a clinic now, it's point your belt buckle to the target and finish on your right toe, or your back toe. And so many people don't do that. And for Bob to come up with that at a young age, that was basically my first lesson for the first 5 years. He was just stressed that. But I think he was a great mentor mentally for me. He kept saying, you can do this. I've seen guys come and go. I've seen what it takes. You've got it. Very positive influence for me. But the thing about golf and in many sports, many things in life, you have to do it on your own. And, it takes kind of a crazy person, I think, to enjoy golf at an early age and stick with it. And I was just pretty good at it and just loved doing it, loved being by myself, figuring things out. And again, with him there by my side, instilling confidence in me was huge.
Bill, when your dad came home from his job, I don't know if you wanted to play golf, but his job was golf. Like with me and my dad got home from his job. He wanted to play golf because it was anything but his job. Did you find it difficult to get your dad engaged when he came home from work?
I didn't. I've told people a lot that I don't really remember my dad being gone that much. I think that's maybe more of a testament to my mom that just kind of handled things. I know he was gone a lot, but when he was home, I guess he must have done all his work when we were at school and stuff, because I don't really remember him saying, hey, I'm going to play golf. I'll see you at dinner. And maybe I also was just busy doing other things and I didn't care. I just said, okay, that's great. Go play golf. But I think once I got to an age where I remember, I was wanting to go play as well. And so we would go play a lot of golf together. And I think it was always work, even when or for him, and the way it is now too, when we go play and practice and have fun round of golf, say, we're still working on something, or I'm always still asking them questions like, well, why is that ball going right, or why, what can I do to get a little better? Or, and he's kind of always been my video camera. Say, like, I use him to say, well, this looks this way, and let's try that or this. And because I've never been one that actually likes the camera or likes to see my swing, and so I'd always prefer to have say my dad or my Uncle Jerry or Uncle Bob or somebody to give me those positive reinforcements or a swing change, because I guess I trusted them maybe even more so than I trusted myself with what I could diagnose. So I don't know. I was very lucky the way it worked out with for my dad, how much he was gone. I was lucky. I don't look back on it and say, man, he was gone too much, or he was an absent father at all. So they did a good job of that.
Jay, with Bill and with Jay Jr., did you find them, wanting your attention, not in the fact that you weren't going to give it to them? I mean, attention like hitting good shots. Were they competitive with each other in order for you to react to them one-upping each other?
Oh yeah, definitely. You know how brothers are. They're very close in age, 14 months apart. And that was a hard thing. And I think most parents can see that in their kids, button heads and being ultra competitive. And they were both very nice players. Bill at a young age was more interested in it than Jay. But anytime I would say, hey guys, you want to go play golf? They both said yes, would love to play. But they were not ones that, say, come on, Dad, we got to go do this. We got to go do that. They were, and I think that what Bill said there is very true. I think you have to give so much of the credit, all the credit to Jan, keeping the household together, along with 3 daughters, those 2 brothers. When I'm gone, he says he doesn't remember me being gone. I remember that. I remember being gone a lot, but we somehow had a normal lifestyle because of Jan keeping everything together at home. But as far as those guys being ultra competitive, it's tough when your little brother beats you. And Bill was a bigger kid. And so, there was a time in there where maybe Jay realized that Bill was a little bit better player, and that had to be pretty difficult. I think if I had to do it over again, I would have taken him more solo, one-on-one, but it's kind of hard to tell one of them, hey, you're sitting out this one today. And I've told other parents when I see them, dads, they say, how do I handle these two boys or 2 girls? And I just say, try them one-on-one. And so they're not comparing each other, and, maybe get a little more attention, a little one-on-one attention that maybe they're looking for.
Bill, having kids now, you know how kids are, they're oblivious, which is a glorious existence to have. And then you lose that, and all of a sudden you have context about like people in your life and what they've done and who they are and what they mean to you. Do you remember getting context of what your dad did to the degree that he did it, and what effect did it have on you?
I don't think I realized, I'm still realizing every 66 he shoots on Sunday at age 68, how good he is and was. And I appreciate it more and more every day. And so, no, I didn't think at a young age, I just assumed, probably at a real young age, I assumed most dads played golf and most dads could play it professionally if they wanted to. That's just what my dad decided to do. And as I got a little older and got a little better at golf and then went to college, I would say even in college was when I probably started realizing his lifestyle even more so than even when I was in high school, just probably because I had so much going on and I was doing my own stuff and trying to learn how to play golf. I thought I was decent at basketball. I thought I could play basketball. And I was just into my own head, I'm probably more so, but every day I think I do realize, the impact he's putting on the game and how good he is.
Jay and Bill, I was texting with someone who's very close to both of you, Billy Harmon, over the weekend, and good for him and Craig and Butch and the honor they got at Winged Foot, rightly deserved. with their honorary membership. But I asked him, I said, what are some things that you would ask the two of them, because you know them so damn well? And he said, ask Jay when he thought Bill had it. Was there a singular moment? Was there a series of progressions that you went, wow, he might be able to do this?
Well, at a very young age, we live at Thornblade Club in Greenville, and the boys kind of grew up there playing golf at that course. It was opened maybe in 1990, so Bill was probably 7 or 8 years old, and we were playing the sixth hole. It's a par 3 with a creek on the left and kind of a little grass bunker down to the left, and he had his tee shot down there. And most people, I don't care what age, most people would just go down there and look at find the ball and hit it up on the green and walk up, and it's 20 feet short or 20 feet long or whatever. And Bill had gone down there and he kind of was looking at the lie. And now, mind you, he's 7 or 8 years old. And before he hit, he kind of walked halfway up the hill. And I was observing this and kind of was formulating how this shot should come off. He needed a little height to it. He needed to play it to the left and was going to break a little bit. And I just kind of I just remember that for some reason that not many people would consider this shot other than a professional golfer or somebody very accomplished in golf. So that was one incident early on that I thought, this kid maybe has got something a little different than the majority of young people. And there was another time when probably high school days, and we were playing we were on the back nine there at Thornblade, and we were trying to find his drive, and it was kind of over this bunker, and we couldn't find his ball. We just couldn't understand why it wasn't right in this one little area. And he walked up like 35 yards and he turned around and he goes, you don't even want to see where this one is. So it was, that was when he started hitting it by me a considerable amount, and game, set, match there. Like when the first time you beat your dad at ping pong, that was that moment.
Well, Bill, was your dad the measure? Did you kind of look past your contemporaries, the kids of your age, and hone in on him?
Yeah, I did. Again, I was a decent high school player. And then once I got to college, and keep in mind, even in high school, I think I'd beat him once ever. And so a lot of kids beat their dads if they're pretty good players at a young age. And I couldn't beat them basically, and still can't. But in college, I remember saying, a lot of my buddies that were maybe at different schools and even on my team were talking about turning professional. And I just remember thinking, well, I can't beat my dad. And so I can't turn professional. I don't know what I'm going to do after school, but there's no point in me trying. And so that was kind of he was the barometer, like the test of if I could maybe get to where I could beat him on a somewhat, 2 out of 10 times, 3 out of 10 times. Well, then maybe I would consider going to Q school, because then, what's the point of going to Q school if you can't even beat your dad, And so, which I knew he was a really good tour player, but that was the point, was if I want to be able to play out there and have a career, then I would certainly need to be able to beat him on a regular basis, or sometimes just to make a cut or two. But, so yes, I think I definitely looked past, maybe the kid on the high school team that was a good player, or maybe the next guy on the golf team at Wake Forest. I remember thinking that I needed to get better if I wanted to continue to have a next stage in golf after college golf. And I was very fortunate to have that.
Jay, the name on the bag, and I say that because I just wrote down some names, starting with Jack, and me, several of his boys were good players. Harry almost won on tour, lost to Phil in a playoff. But whether it's Nicholas, Watkins, Irwin, Stadlers, Guybergers, Stocktons, Loves, a lot of guys and good players. Did you worry about this idea of the burden of the name on the bag for Bill at any point?
I don't think so. I think, I never thought of myself as someone that was untouchable. Certainly for my boys, I thought they were wonderful golfers and had great golf swings and things like that. But I never thought in terms of that being a deterrent or something that they had to live up to. You know, the game of golf, boy, it's not who you know, it's what you know and how you can put that to use. There's no free passes. What did you shoot? That's kind of the name of the game. And if you can't perform, step aside, somebody's going to take your spot. So to be able to have a legacy in this game or to continue that legacy is pretty amazing. You know, I guess I kind of shake my head in how Bill has done. In the same family, that just the odds of someone becoming a tour professional and being successful at it is pretty astronomical. So the odds of someone coming from the same family is pretty incredible too. You know, I know Kevin Stadler's had some success on the PGA Tour. Drew Love, and down the line, there's been some guys that have played pretty darn well. But I think that you might see a little bit more of that in the future. You know, if we can go back to talking about me being away, the dads aren't away as much as they used to be. I mean, like 30, 32 events. There was no daycare, not net jets, all this different stuff. So I was gone a lot. And I think that kids in that era were probably thinking, well, I don't like golf because it takes my dad away from me. So, again, it takes a pretty crazy special person, I think, at a young age to want to do this and stick with it, because it is kind of a lonely game. But, I'm kind of rambling here, but I never thought there was I was in a position to say, boy, these kids got a lot to live up to. I tried to be positive with them. And again, Jan was such a calming influence, of normalcy, I think, is probably the way they are today. All the kids are unbelievable, fine young people and got great families of their own. And that's all on Jan.
You know, you mentioned lonely. There's also something that it's inherent. You have to be selfish to some degree. But Bill, you mentioned Q School. Your dad was there for that. You win the FedEx Cup title. He was there for that. The 2015 President's Cup is a situation that's so unusual, it may never be replicated again. Who knows? Maybe 25, 50 years from now, who knows? Did you ever feel like you were playing for more than just yourself at these critical junctures of your career?
Selfishly, probably not. Honestly, I think maybe that's just how my parents raised me, or my dad raised me in golf, is to realize that it is an individual game and it's all on you. Like, there are times where I probably have said to myself, I wish my dad could hit this shot for me. But then deep down, that you have to do it, to shoot a score. You got to you got to hit every shot. And the President's Cup was as nervous as I've ever been in my life. And I don't know that I don't remember thinking like, oh, I'm nervous because I was a pick and my dad's the captain and this is the deciding point. I just think it was because it was my match. It came down to the last hole, and knowing that whoever won the hole would win the, if he'd have won the last hole, Sangamon Bay, then they would have the match. But I still would have lost. That would have mean I lost the match that caused us to lose the President's Cup. So I just remember feeling all those nerves of don't screw this up. And I think that's what nerves are. It's not necessarily I'm nervous because I want to hit a good shot. I don't want to hit a bad shot. It's just I just don't want to screw up, and I'm in this position. I've gotten here. This is great. But man, if I mess this up, I'll never forget it in a negative way. And the best players, I think everyone gets nervous, but the best players certainly seem to handle that well. I watched the end of the golf yesterday, and Rory, that last group, they all look super comfortable down the stretch and hitting unbelievable quality shots. And that's the reason they're the best in the world.
Jay, the whole situation on that Sunday of the President's Cup, It wasn't like you were in a walk. I mean, you put him in the anchor match. This is a tight match. What was the conversation that he found himself? And oh, by the way, Sangmoon Bae is from the nation in which it's being held. And oh, by the way, after this, he's going to go off and serve military. I mean, there were so many layers to this whole thing. Why was he in the last match?
You know, Freddie was my number one assistant, as I was for him for the three previous President's Cup. And when we would pick our matches and point them out when you go in the press room there and you talk about the next day's matches, I kept pointing to Bill, you know, somewhere around the 7, 8, 9 mark or whatever. And Bill was playing very well. He had a really weak. He was 1-1-1, but he was in every match, and you know we were very confident in Bill. And every time I'd point to Bill, Freddie would shake him off. You know, shake it off. We're going to put this guy in, and then all of a sudden it came down to the last two. And, you know, Freddie kind of moved Bill's card over to the side. We do little 3x5 cards with everybody's names on them. It's just easier to handle for everybody and to see who, rather than crossing out on a notepad or something. But anyway, so I think Freddie felt like, you know, he should be in the last match if it got to that. And honestly, I didn't think it would. I honestly thought that the guys were playing very well. They, you know, were comfortable. We had some amazing golfers on that team. And so I felt like it was probably going to be over. But then midway through the back nine, it looked like, no, this is going to happen. And only one assistant captain can be in charge at any one time. You kind of have to pass the baton, you know, over the walkie-talkie and all that. And Davis was watching Bill and Sangmoon Bae play toward the end there. And I remember him saying, do you want to come and take over? And it's not that I wanted to be not responsible, but at the same time, Bill knew what it meant. Everybody knew what it meant. And I didn't want to upset any kind of, you know, be on the tee at 17, a tough par 3, and be talking to Bill how to hit this shot. What are you going to say? You know, I mean, this is important. He knew that. So I just kind of left things alone. And an unbelievable scenario, really. You've got the other 11 players out there, the other 11 wives and significant others, the other 11 caddies on both sides of the coin. So you've got, I don't know how many, 40 or 50 people that have an immediate impact on this result. Then the crowd, and then add in the fact that Sangmoon was going off to war, basically. And it was a pretty incredible situation. And I know Bill's, I guess it's kind of like, you know too much almost. And I know that Bill's shot that he hates is a shot to the right. Well, there's water all down the right on this 18th hole. If you had a good drive, you can knock it up there on the green on a Tuesday afternoon. It's not a big deal. But on Sunday, the final match, this was a pretty testy shot. And he probably hit two of the best shots he's ever hit under the circumstances to get this done. And you know, a scenario that I'll never forget. You know, Jan and I were on the 18th green, and when I realized that he was going to win this hole and win this match, and we were going to win, it was euphoria. I really couldn't even speak hardly. And the whole scenario of him being my son, being in the last group, winning the match, too much, really. Pretty storybook, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, Bill, I've told you this. I thought the second you hit to 17 at Riviera, the year you won in the playoff against Keegan and Phil, was as good a second as I've seen under the circumstances. I thought your second 18 against Sangmoon Bae was like equally as good. I don't know who set up that pin position. First of all, I don't know about the design itself. I've never been there. I thought the result was like the worst result possible for a shot of that quality. I want to know you're processing all of this. I just heard your dad's perspective. How about yours?
Yeah, I agree with you. I've told people that was probably the best quality shot I've hit. Obviously, people talk about the shot at East Lake out of the water, but that's not necessarily a quality golf shot. It was kind of a hit and hope situation. But the one in Korea, South Korea, we, a lot of stuff could go wrong. I knew you couldn't miss left. There's a big swell down there. And that's where Sang Moon hit his ball. And I'd heard through other players, or maybe Davis had said, left of the screen is not good. And so my head, water's right, keep in mind. So left's not good, but neither is right. And so I just was, and it was a 3-iron off the little hanging lie, very small margin for error. And when I hit it, it came off and it was going pretty much right at it. And I think I just felt a sense of relief right then. And, just that it was going to be a decent shot. And obviously it ran through, went just in the back bunker, but I think somebody was there, either my caddy or Davis or another player was like, that's fine. That's a good spot to hit it. And it turned out to be, is a pretty easy bunker shot. Now the situation, I remember being in that bunker shot even after Sang Moon had kind of chunked his chip and then had to hit another one, and he had 20 feet for par maybe, and I'm chipping for eagle from about 12 feet. It was a close chip. And so I just remember thinking like, well, just don't dump this in the bunker, and all the thoughts that you can't have. And I remember Phil afterwards at the award ceremony was like, hey, Bill, if Sang Moon hadn't have dumped that chip, you would have tried to make that bunker shot, right? That's the way Phil thinks. There's the difference. He's trying to make it, and I'm just like, let's just get this on the green and 2-putt and get out of here. But I remember that. I remember Phil kind of ribbing me a little bit that I didn't hit that chip close enough in his mind. So, but no, that was as nerve-wracking as a situation I've been in golf, and I've had plenty that I have not pulled off. So to have a shot like that and it work out in our favor, at least I got that.
Jay, was it euphoria or relief when it was over?
I think more euphoria than relief. It was, I think the captains put a lot into the events, the President's Cup, Ryder Cup, more than they let on maybe, but it's all self-induced. It's all stress. The tour, the PGA Tour, the PGA of America, they make it as easy as possible, but it's all internal, in my head, thinking about what all could go wrong and what I didn't do and things like that. But again, what a team we had, and every one of the guys capable of winning a golf tournament any single time. So, I was confident in the players, but the elation of winning that cup is probably was a little bit more than the relief, although I slept pretty good that night, I remember.
It's interesting. That's 2015. And so you share this experience. But, Bill, I want to ask you about 2004 in the Ryder Cup, because, players talk about getting to a point where their kids like have an idea of what they do. And usually we're talking about like 10 and 12-year-olds. Your father's damn good enough to be on a Ryder Cup when he's 50. And you're 22 and you're turning pro, and it's the Ryder Cup where you talk about a lot going on. Hal Sutton stomping around in a cowboy hat. He puts Phil and Tiger together, and your dad's on the team. What do you remember about that week?
Yeah, I remember him playing Sergio maybe in the singles. Is that right? Did you play Sergio? I don't know. I remember a match maybe against Sergio though. So maybe you and DeMarco played him, or
he played them in the afternoon on Saturday.
Yeah, and I remember kind of thinking Sergio's not that much older than me. How good he is, and then also at the same time, and how cool is it? This is my dad, who's not, and Sergio's not much older than me, and my dad's playing him, and I think there's just a lot of those aha moments the older you get of realizing this is a bigger deal than just my dad playing the Ryder Cup. And I know they got beat that week, but there was still a lot of those moments inside the week. But no, just the realizing how great it was and how great he is, and all the guys on the team. I think I don't even remember thinking this is something I want, or I think I just realized how good they are and how tough this game is. And and I was trying to get there. I wasn't even trying to get there. I was just trying to make my way onto the tour. I think at that point I just graduated, played some Monday qualifiers and some sponsor invites to try to earn my way out there. And I knew I think I had to get a Q school in a few weeks, and just realized I got a long way to go if I want to be on this stage.
Jay, it was not unreasonable if you thought, 95 is probably going to be my last Ryder Cup team. And 9 years later, you're on the side again. You're 3 years older than your captain, Hal Sutton. Did you feel, was there a great sense of gratitude? Or was it like, God, I'm jumping into this cauldron again?
I think I was playing really well. Some of the best golf that I'd ever played in my career. And I was better, I think, than I was maybe in my prime, so to speak. I didn't know any better back in the 80s, I guess. I won a few tournaments, but I think at that age, maybe I appreciated it more, but at the same time, I kind of felt like I kind of turned the page of trying not to hit a bad shot and trying to hit a good shot. Instead of trying not to hit a bad one, I was trying to hit good ones under pressure and things like that. But the Ryder Cup is, in President's Cup, any of those team events is a whole different animal. You've heard it from everyone just about, say, across the board, that it is different than playing an individual tournament. And when you make a bogey, it's only on you, and you miss a short putt, it's only on you. Whereas at those team events, it's you feel it for the other 11 guys. And but I don't know if I was proud. A sense of accomplishment, certainly, and they were making a big deal about being 50 and all that. But I was always told that the ball doesn't know your name. You just go out there, and if you hit a good shot, it's a good shot. It's not necessarily better because you're younger or older or your name's Tiger or anything like that. It's just a good shot. So I tried to be in that moment and, appreciate where I was and being on that team. Any of those teams, I've looked around the room and just go, wow, I'm one of these guys. That's a pretty cool thing to be sitting here with these other 11 guys and be one of them.
It was pre-social media, and I can't imagine when Phil and Tiger being announced that they were going to play together, what the reaction would have been like. It still was significant. Bill, is somebody who is now immersed in the game, going to try to make a career of the game. Were you into that? Do you remember asking your dad, like, can you believe they're doing this? Do you think Hal's doing the right thing? Were you into it that way?
I think I was certainly into it, and I think I was probably on the side, maybe the American captain side, of how could this team ever lose? Maybe the two greatest players, certainly of this era. And I wasn't on board with some of the media or some of the people that were just like, this is dumb. They're not buddies. This isn't going to work out. And I don't think it did work out for whatever. I don't even necessarily remember, but they didn't maybe win their match, or
they played twice that day and lost both matches.
Phil, I remember Phil hitting it, maybe left on 18 or something like that. And, but I don't know. Why wouldn't you put them together? Either the argument, I guess, would be that that's only 1 point. If they both win, that's only 1 point. You separate them, they got two great players that could win 2 points. But I would certainly think that's an intimidation or an intimidating group to be paired against. I wouldn't want to play Tiger and Phil. So pretty cool, really. I think it's cool that they put them together. Obviously, it didn't work out for those matches, but I do remember thinking, like, man, this is two heavyweights.
Yeah, I've never, and I spent some time with Hal talking about it, and Jay, it took a toll on him, the aftermath of it, literally years of feeling like he was the bad guy when he thought he was doing something that I wanted it. And the fact that they never tried to right the wrong, I think it's unfortunate.
I think if you go back in history, I've never really studied all the team results.
All the great players played together.
Jack and Arnold, I don't know if they ever lost. They played the World Cups together. they were head to head. They didn't like each other in what we hear anyway. So why not? And I think I was a little intrigued myself. Now, if you look back and like Bill said, you had two of the best players and they should carry each team. And there's 2 points they could win. And the Euros have nothing to lose. If they beat the two best players, a huge boost for them. And that's kind of what happened. So it backfired a little bit, but Hal was a wonderful captain. He did everything. He covered every base. So to blame any result on Hal is wrong, because he was solid as a captain. Again, A to Z, he covered it all, and the guys just didn't play well. We didn't play well.
I want to ask you about this year in New Orleans, Bill. To do this, I don't know that you ever thought, well, at some point, you'll play together in some hit and giggle, not in a PGA Tour event. Just what was the best thing about that week?
My dad's game, the way he played was the best. He was the best player in the group every day, and I'm not just saying that to be nice. Or I think the best ball the first day, we shot 7 under. He made 5 birdies. I remember being in the stretch trailer the next morning, and Charlie Hoffman was like, "Your dad wouldn't keep his tour card out here. Like if he played, he should do it. Like why doesn't he do that?" He was just very impressed, I think, and I was as well. But also too, I've told people that when we play together at home, that's how he plays. So I wasn't shocked by his game. But for it to come down, make the cut, and he made the putt there on 18, which was a very difficult par putt, windy, into the grain, all that stuff. And I think all the players knew that, and that have seen it. They kind of understand that putt, and for him to make it was such a cool moment. I'm getting chills thinking about it. It was a cool 2 days, and then obviously to play the weekend. I thought I'd be freed up on the weekend, like, oh, let's just go shoot a low number, or whatever. And I was nervous on the first tee the next day, because you just want to play well for your teammate. And this one just happened to be my dad, so I really wanted to play well, and those were cool feelings.
Jay, he mentioned the putt on 18. Here I am on a Friday afternoon dying lousy for you to shake one in from 5 feet because it was neat. And you knew everything that was going on. You knew you needed it. Can you compare that to anything?
Well, at this stage, no, I can't hardly. Just the whole scenario again, when Bill said, here I'm playing with my son, I'm playing on the PGA Tour. We got Charlie Hoffman and Nick Watney as our playing companions there. And we knew what the number was. We had a little bit of a cushion, and they made a couple bogeys coming in. Alternate shot is a hard format, and it's winds blowing, and Bill's dragging me around 40 yards behind those guys and everything. But I hit a terrible third shot in there, and I saw like a good pool player maybe seeing 2 and 3 and 4 shots ahead. I knew that I needed to hit it in there, 15, 18 feet at least, so Bill could make it or lay it up and I could tap it in. And, I don't know what his first putt was, 42 feet or something like that. Terrible 8-iron shot into the wind, water right. On Tuesday, not a big deal, but on Friday afternoon trying to make the cut, I was feeling the pressure. But when he hit this putt I'm looking at it from the side, and good players can kind of see a ball where they know it's going to get there. It's going too hard, too soft. And about halfway there, I went, oh boy, I don't think this is going to get close enough for me. And I don't know what it looked like it was 12 feet. I guess it was 4 or something like that. But it was quite a testy putt. But to make that, there's relief, I think. That was the relief time when, just to do that with Bill, to be on that range with all those players. And I had a pretty darn good field that week. Scotty Scheffler had just come a couple weeks prior to that at the Masters. So there was some, and across the board, the 2 guys that won, Cantlay and
Schauffele.
Yeah, my goodness, what good, great golf they played. So to be on that stage again and then to perform, and somehow I hit it on the correct yip there. It was good to see it go down.
Bill, when like what you said that Charlie Hoffman said to you, you know how good your dad's game is. What kind of source of pride is it for him to be around all your contemporaries at this stage of his life and his career? And it's got to be found money, isn't it?
It's amazing. I was struggling to stay out here at age 40. So 28 years later, if I'm still teeing it up and shooting good scores, it's kind of hard to imagine, to be honest. I mean, I think that's what we all strive for. We all want to keep playing and keep playing well. We all don't want to keep playing if we struggle. So the fact that he's not struggling is amazing, and not because he can't do it or because I don't believe that he can do it or shouldn't be able to, because I see it all the time. Every time we play, he plays solid. But I think he got a kick. I mean, I'm speaking for him. He can talk about it, but like being on the range next to Xander and Patrick Cantlay, and I mean, this is not a knock on him, but his ball doesn't come off the face like Brooks Koepka's, and not many people's do. But so to be right next to the guys like that, and he played just as good as anybody that I could have, anybody else I could have picked. He played so nice, and I was trying my best just to stay along, to keep along, to be honest. And so, yeah, I think it should give him more confidence. I remember thinking he's going to win the next week, because the confidence he must have had from how good he played against, the younger guys.
Jay, to hear Bill say, he can still win and all this stuff. Why do you still do it? I mean, I know you love golf. Clearly you have to love golf, but I think there is an undercurrent of competitiveness that's underrated here. You can't just keep doing this because you love golf. You got to have a chip. Are you surprised how long you've maintained this streak of competitiveness in your job?
Yeah, I am a little surprised. I think, when I first started at 22, 23, there was no such thing as the senior tour that morphed into the Champions Tour. So I thought at that stage in the 70s, the guys played till they were early, mid 40s, and that was kind of it. The ball didn't go as far. Younger players were better. Their top 60 was exempt. You just moved on. There was really no reason to continue to play. Plus, the money wasn't very good. If you finished 100th on the money list in 1978, you didn't win 20,000. And if you're 45 years old and you got kids going to college and all that, you had to find a different job because it wasn't going to get much better. Now 100th on the money list on the PGA Tour is $1 million plus, and then you've got the Champions Tour to go to, and the money's unbelievable out there. So I didn't think that I would be still playing, obviously, at this age, but I think to my benefit in my profession is I've got a lot of competitiveness. I got that gene in spades, and I think that you can't teach that, and I'm blessed that I do. I love the fact that I like to play any kind of game and to succeed at it, and to pit myself against the next guy. So that's I think that's a plus for myself. But if I didn't have it, I probably wouldn't still be doing it. I was walking the fairways in Madison yesterday, and I just was thinking that the reason I do it is to still see if I can do it, I guess, to hit a good shot under pressure, to make a birdie, to make a nice putt, to shoot a good round, to shoot my age. My goal is to make the top 36 and to get to Phoenix at the end of the year. That's a long shot, but if I play well, I think I can do it. So, you better be ready to quit if you quit. You can't have second thoughts. I think you can't say, I think maybe I should. This is my opinion, and I think that you have to let retirement sneak up on you almost and say, hey, it's time. And one week I might just say, you know what, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to maybe just slowly ease on out. I'll probably just turn out the lights and say, that's it.
You know, Bill, mortality in the game can happen, you know, whether it takes 6 months, 16 months, 6 years, but mortality in life is something nobody expects to have to deal with at 35, 36, and you did. The accident you were in, that the gentleman who was driving the car, whose life was lost, and when they have the U.S. Open at LA North next year, I promise that story is going to be told because he was instrumental. He was a figure in the game of golf. How difficult has that been for you over the last 4+ years?
It's been tough. It's something I definitely still think about. It just puts things in perspective. I try not to make it say, well, everything's gravy. Golf doesn't matter, because it does matter to me. It's what I like to do. It's what I want to do for my job and for my family. And I'm trying to do it better every day. But at the same time, I think it just does make you realize that, unfortunately he's not here and I am, and fortunately I have that ability to go on and enjoy my family until my day comes. And that was a horrible day. And it just shows you how quickly something like that can happen. And you have to be careful. You can't walk on eggshells in life, and you can't just live in a bubble. But it was just an accident, and accidents happen. And it certainly it's changed me. I'm trying to be for the better. I don't want it to change me for the worse and make me a worse golfer, say, or certainly not a worse husband and dad. I'm just trying to be, be the best person I can be, and move on. And time is healing. And I think we've healed from it, but at the same time, you don't ever forget. And Mark was a great man. And it's just unfortunate that I was part of that. I don't wish it on anybody.
Jay, your viewpoint as a father, the minutes, the hours, the days that followed, what is the thing that stays with you about that?
Well, immediate, I'll text Bill, weekly, kind of, how's golf going? Good round today. Looks like the scores are, just some comment just to get a conversation going. And he usually within the hour or so, he might be out to dinner or something like that. He'll get back to me and maybe we'll talk, or we'll just trade some texts or something. But I remember saying, how's golf going this week? And he texted back or actually he called me right back, and the accident just happened. So I went from, just relaxed and, thinking about his week, and he was starting to play pretty good, I think. And he was at the scene, EMS hadn't been there or anything like that. And so I don't know. I kind of tried to erase that from my memory. I guess it just was not something I would want to experience again, or anyone should. But I guess I was relieved that he was okay. But he said at the time, he says, I don't think he's good, and you couldn't see all this different stuff. So, Bill and I don't know how to approach Bill about it. I think he's knows that I'm here for him and all that, and I was, but I just didn't know what to say or do. I mean, I don't think anyone can understand what he's gone through, unless you experience something like that, and how many people do. So there's no book or blueprint on how to respond or how to act or anything. And again, like Bill says, it's an accident, and they happen a lot and too much. But it's I think it did change him. I think it changed his outlook on life, and better, worse, it just changed. Sure. And so I think as a young person, we all think we're bulletproof and, just nothing bad's going to happen. And so to have that, I don't think anybody will ever forget anything like that. But, he's got a strong family and strong support. So, you think, and like Bill says, I hear him say it many times, that he's here and Mark's not. And so he should be thankful, and I think he is. But at the same time, I don't know, survivor's remorse, guilt, whatever you say, is something that's real.
Yeah, Bill, I've never asked you about it. I appreciate you both being willing to share on this subject. I know 4+ years removed, it's not easy. Let me end this on a much lighter note. 5 questions for both of you. I'm curious as to how you both answer these questions. Bill, I'll start with you. Who is the best pure ball hitter you've ever seen?
Tiger.
Not close?
His irons especially, I don't remember a bad iron shot and I've only played with him a handful of times, but he just was beautiful. Some of the shots he'd hit. First time I ever played with him was at Boston, TPC of Boston, and it was on the 3rd hole. The pin was the back right, and it's not an overly difficult par 3 per se, but it was just an iron that never left the pin, and I was looking 30 feet left and hoping it leaked over there a little bit, and he went right at it, and I just remember thinking, wow, that was different, and I guess I said that a lot about his golf more than anybody else's, but there's been a handful of players that I've said wow to, certainly over the years, but he was probably the most.
Jay, how about you?
I would say Tiger, in the sense that I played with him in his prime, and I really didn't play with Jack in his prime, toward the end of his career. Everybody says Lee Trevino was amazing, what he could do with the golf ball. But, I think Tiger is proving stat-wise, tee to green, awfully impressive. And I think and like Bill said, he pointed out, just a common iron shot on a par 3 stands out. In a practice round, Tiger hit this 8-iron. I was playing with him at Players, and we played 9 holes, and he hit an 8-iron on the 3rd hole. And I just, it was almost like in slow motion. You could see every perfect position he was in, and this ball took off. It didn't go in the hole. It didn't get, it was 10 or 12 feet, but it was like, wow, that's the way a golf shot should be struck. And it was, I think that at one time he was probably the number 1 driver on the tour, accuracy and distance, certainly distance wise, but he was pretty straight to maybe top 20 or 30 in driving accuracy, which is pretty incredible. But I would probably say TW.
All right. This probably hadn't happened very often. I don't know if it ever has, but Jay, what's the maddest you've ever been at him on a golf course?
I remember one time in college, I thought he hit the wrong shot off the tee in a regional or something like that.
Is it Auburn?
He remembers.
Oh, it might have been at Auburn. I thought that he was mad because he missed a few putts or whatever, and I get all that and everything, but he took a driver on this hole where I couldn't even believe that anybody would try to hit driver. He was trying to drive it up in front of the green over a creek and all this stuff, and he hit it in the trees, I think. And I think that I thought he was losing sight of the team aspect of it and all that, and I get it, but I've never been mad at him, other than I guess I was disappointed in that situation there. He remembers that, but hey, I know how hard this game is, and I've been unbelievably upset and try crazy stuff out there. And so I have no problem with people getting mad as long as they don't disrupt play. But that's the only time I can remember.
Bill, is that it? You were mad at him for being mad at you, or do you have another one?
I don't think I was mad at him for being mad. I think I knew it was a poor decision. I think I was hoping I'd have pulled it off, and then, I could have pointed the finger, see, look, I told you. But it was just an after the fact thing. I think I made a big number on the hole, and it could have, I think our team got through to NCAA, so it ended up not being a big deal, but I was a counting score. So if I make par or bogey there, it's a good chance I'm not hurting my team. And instead I make, double or triple, I think. And I could have cost my team a chance to go to the NCAAs. And I remember the conversation after was short, but it was more about that than it was about my club decision there. It was just about you're on a team and you're representing your school. And it was in a different tone than that too. I understood the position I was in was not good. So
I have several caps, the golf professional cap, the teacher cap, the dad cap. The dad cap came on that one.
Very nice. All right, Bill, what's a place you'd like to take him to play that you both have never been to?
To play golf. Yes. Never been. I don't know. Where has he never been in golf? That's a good tough one.
You guys ever done any traveling to go to like destination golf? Just you and some guys? You've never gone out to Bandon Dunes. You've never been to Sand Hills. You've never.
No, I guess Bill's probably like me. Is the last thing we want to do is go on a guy's golf trip. And I guess I always thought that was a pretty hard sell if I came home and said, Jan, by the way, next week, 7 other of us guys we're going out to Sand Hills, or we're going to Bandon or wherever. There's a couple places. I know you've asked Bill this question, but there's a couple places that I've heard are very cool experience. And there's a Fisher's Island.
Awesome.
Have you been
Yes.
there? And maybe a really nice golf course, but just the whole experience of it. And hey, I would like to do stuff like that, but it's just, being gone, playing golf and everything is just, we'll try to do more of it in the future. Maybe someplace in Scotland or Ireland or something, and take Jay and Bill and some close friends. We've got, son-in-laws now and who like golf. So we're, we mentioned Congaree earlier.
Yes.
So maybe we can down there.
Yeah, no, and that's close enough. If you do ask Jan, let's record that conversation when you say
okay.
All right. 8 of us are going to go on a boondoggle, drink some good wine, and be gone for 5 days. You good with that?
That's right. Yeah.
All right, Bill, who is the guy your dad loved to beat the most?
I would assume it would probably be the top players at the time. He's told a few stories about playing with Jack, and I think he told a story maybe at the memorial, you're playing with Jack and he gave you a tip or something, and Jack said the next day, "You're really trying that tip I gave you." And he's like, "Well, yeah, you're Jack Nicklaus. I'm going to try whatever tip you tell me." So I would assume you want, those are the guys you want to beat, the guys you look up to and respect, and maybe have more accolades, and you want to, prove you belong with those type of guys. So I would assume it was Jack and Arnold, and, or maybe not, I don't know how much you played against Arnold, but and Jack, you didn't play much. So I don't know. It's a good question.
You didn't have somebody, Jay, that got your goat? I mean, John Cook is always, there's a couple guys he walked in, as he likes to say. He walked in Gordon Brewer at the U.S. Amateur in 74 at Ridgewood when he was 16. He's like, I walked in that old man. I'm like, old man? He was like in his late 30s. And then he beat Phil in the match play one year. That was very gratifying to him. Is there somebody Bill enjoys beating?
I guess I'll take the easy way out and say what Bill said is the best players.
Yeah.
I think when you put yourself up against the best, whether you think they're a good guy or not a good guy, I think it's pretty gratifying to come out on top. To show them that, hey, I got some game too. And I think in any walk of life, there's people that you get along with better than others, and so it's nice to beat people that maybe you don't go out to dinner with or something like that. But you know what? I've found later in life that I judge a book by its cover too much, and people that I maybe didn't think I would enjoy, it turns out I do. I could tell a quick story here. Hubert Green, God rest his soul. He was tough. He was kind of somebody who would try to get under the skin of rookies. And I remember saying something about how'd you do yesterday, Hubie? And he said, well, it's Mr. Green or Hubert to you, Rook. And he was kidding, but I didn't know that at the time, and it really pissed me off. And so he was one of my goals, to beat Hubert Green. But later on, I thought Hubert's a pretty cool guy, and I really enjoyed being around him. So he got under my skin. He succeeded in what he was trying to do, but he was somebody who I would have said, boy, I loved beating Hubert today, because he was one of the best players too.
Yeah, I asked this question of Lanny one time. He gave me a list, not surprisingly. All right. Last question for both of you. What's the one thing you most have in common with each other? Bill, I'll let you answer it first.
I think we both really, the competitive side of us, to win, like he was saying, anything he did, playing ping pong, shooting hoops in the yard, going fishing, you want, everything about you want to succeed in what you're doing. And so no matter what I try to do, I think I want to do it well. I don't think I'm just out there, for giggles. I think that competitive side in me, I think I got from him, and I see it in him all the time. And that's the reason he's been so good for so long, obviously with the talent as well, but his drive to succeed is something I think I have a little bit of. I think I wish I had more of it, but he instilled a lot of that of himself into me.
Jay, how would you answer that?
I think maybe not in the best way. We're both pretty hard on ourselves, and that motivated maybe in my eyes personally. I won't say I would run myself down or anything, but you suck, you can't do this, all this different stuff. But I knew deep down I could, but it was like it was a crutch or something. And he probably got that from me. And at times I've told him, you need to be a better friend to yourself, because nobody really cares. Certainly not your playing competitors. They hope you shoot 80 every day almost, or at least one more than they do. So I think that's something that maybe goes along with being competitive, is wanting it so badly that there's a disappointment when it doesn't happen. But players with less ability, I see, succeed because they believe in themselves a lot. They just think that they're going to do this. You look at Ed Fiore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you'd look at Ed and say, wow, I could beat this guy. It wasn't always the case. Ed was a hell of a competitor and believed in himself. And, and you look at a guy who's 6'5" and he crushes it and everything, and maybe doesn't feel as confident. And so he's not as intimidating maybe. But, that attitude of I'm the best is what the best have, I think.
Well, I really appreciate you both doing this and making the time to do it together. It's good seeing you. It's no surprise that people watch or listen to this, why the family is so well respected, so admired. I hope you both have a great Father's Day. Thanks so much for doing this.
Gary, thank you. You're awesome, and a pleasure to be on with you.
Thanks, Gary. Happy Father's Day to you too, man.
Thank you. Well, if you just listened or watched, you know what I have known for a long, long time. They're great. They're great about each other, but they are good people who have made a life in this game, playing it at a very high level. But way beyond being great at playing golf is being really good in golf. So I really appreciate Jay Haas and Bill Haas for taking the time to share their life in the game of golf. For all of you out there, if you got a father in your life, call him, go see him. It's Father's Day, and have a great one.